Good morning, afternoon, and evening. Welcome to the fifth day of the boot camp organized by Rayznews, Learn IG, and ICANN Circle. It's the last day, and today we are going to talk about social media and how to engage in the ICANN community. Moreover, it would be a session related with social media engagement. So now let's start with the housekeeping rules. We have few housekeeping rules. Mute your mic when you are not speaking. Be mindful of background noises. The session is recorded. Raise your hand and wait for the cue. So now let's start the presentation. Okay, where is the presentation? Okay, here we have the presentation. So, okay, so today we are going to talk about the social media. So, what is social media? Social media is all about human feelings, emotions, human behavior, human values, communication channel, and content. So, this briefly describes what social media is. We all have been using social media in our daily lives, and every day we do put in content, right? So, what is a content? Content is basically an organized form of information in terms of words, in terms of pictures, or any types of graphics or numbers. So that is a content, and content is very important because it is very important to diversify the content, and there are different type of content as you can see on the screen. So as I've also already said, content, you can use photos, you can use graphics, you can use words, so it is a combination of all these things. And the better, the unique the content, the better it is for visibility and engagement, because people like unique content. And the most important thing that you have to look into content is, these days in the social media, the hashtags are very important. So you have to look into the usable or popular hashtags as well. So slide number 2. So here we are going to talk about the brand value, the emotional connection, the relevant differentiation, value, and accessibility. So, you might be thinking, why are we talking about brand value? We are not an organization, right? So the most important thing that you have to understand is, when you are using social media, you also have a brand value, which needs to be worked on, which has to be collaborated with proper content, so that you can, with better effective strategy, can get more visibility and can create better engagement. So now let's talk about social media value. So when we talk about social media value, the first thing that comes is content. As I've already said, content is king. There is no second option to it. So the content has to be unique. The second one is the accuracy and quality. The quality of the content has to be good. It cannot be subsidiary. It has to be, unique. It has to be accurate. And if the content is plagiarized, please do not use the plagiarized content. That means copy content. If you are copying, also give reference. Giving reference, the advantage of giving reference is, you kind of like create that engagement with the original copy of the content, right? So whoever has created that will see that you are sharing his or her content, and he or she will also like your content, will also start the conversation. So it is a great way of starting the conversation, right? Storytelling. In a content, there is always the part of the storytelling, where you kind of like give the information, and you have to use definite strategies about how you will tell the story, or how will you will convey the message out to the community. So communication and network. So basically it is all about your communication skills, and what networks you are using, what networks you are targeting. Information, the level of information has to be unique and qualitative. It is very important for the content to have information value, and only when there is informational value with accuracy and quality, then the trust builds up. When the trust builds up, then engagement happens, and people kind of like share your content when they feel that it kind of like resonates with them, it kind of like relates with them. Only they share or start the conversation, and your content becomes very visible. So, so when you talk about social media strategy, there are basically four strategies: content, consistency, commitment, and collaboration. So when we talk about content basically in terms of in terms of words, there are keywords. Content has to be smart, sharp, storytelling, clarity, and sensible. So these things have to be considered. Consistency, regular posting, quality, and recognition, right? So these things have to be maintained when you talk about consistency of your social media strategy. Commitment, focus topic, quality, and promptness, and referencing. As I've already mentioned, referencing helps you to create better conversion. So, and even start the conversation, right? So collaboration, hashtag, keywords, referencing, tagging, trend, viral. So all these things are there, right? So you just have to work on your skills of using the proper hashtags, creating that story and creating better engagement. So basically, how does social media engagement happen? So in social media engagement happens at five levels. First, it is the observing level. Second is the following level. Third is the engaging level. Fourth is the endorsing level, and the contributing level. So all these processes are aligned. So it happens when the observing happens, only then the following happens. When the following happens, then the engagement happens. When the engagement happens, then the endorsing, the action happens. And when the action happens, people do ask you about collaboration, how to collaborate. So that is the way of social media engagement. It is not simple, it is not easy, but the way it is done is you have to understand the whole psychology of how engagement works. Engagement doesn't work in a one way, right? Engagement way works in a dynamic prospect, right? So you have to observe, you have to follow, you have to engage, you have to endorse, and then contribution happens. So what is social media strategy framework? Basically, it is a normal process that starts like, let me give you an example of what social media strategy or what strategy framework is all about. So when you think about doing something, then first what you do is you think, right? So that is the setting the goal process. Then you establish the audience. You think about what you are targeting or what you are trying to say, and then you select the platform. Okay, where you are gonna say it, right? Then you design the content. I mean to say whether you are going to use the words, you are going to use the photos, whether you are going to share the numbers, or infographics or whatever it is there. So you are going to share that and plan the execution, right? And then you go and put it up. So these things are basically a simple process, but it is defined in such a way that it looks very strategic, right? The exact word is, this is very strategic. It is very, but we do it. All of us, we do it, right? So why am I showing it to you? I am showing it or pointing out it to you because this is the way we do it, but we don't realize that we are doing it like this, right? Every time when I'm thinking about something, first I think about something, then I think it is good for the community, or where should I share it? Then I think about how am I gonna put it. So all these things happen in the whole procedure. But when you put it in a more strategic or in a more process way, it looks very refined. It looks very organized, and this is the simple way, right? So you have to understand the process. When you understand the process, it is very easy to adapt and absorb as well. So now this is a very good example of what social media is, right? So when in Twitter you just write, I am eating a donut. Twitter is very precise. Twitter is focused. Twitter has a limitation of words. So you don't write too many words. It has to be very precise with precise keywords and focus words. So now the next one is Facebook. I like donut. You know, It- Facebook is all about pictures, right? So you don't need to share everything. Photos, they tell the story, right? And you just give a brief introduction, or you just share the information, and people do go and read it out. Foursquare, this is where I eat donuts. Basically, the geotagging system is there, so a lot of the whole concept comes from there. YouTube, here's a video of me eating donuts. So, different social media have different objectives, and different objectives have various ways of using content in their own respective way, where the different content strategy moves around. So you just have to be smart enough to use mm, the content in the desired way, creating your engagement. So all these are there, right? So social media conversion. So how does conversion happen? So basically, at process level, conversion happens when there is value, when there is target, and when there is goal, and then communication. Everything that is there is laid upon and is communicated, and then conversion happens. So if that value is not targeted, if that target is not focused, and if the goals are not set in, and if the communication platform or channel is not managed, there won't be a conversion. So the perfect example would be, I go to some social media and write something absurd. People don't want to hear something absurd, right? So they will not engage because there are no values, there is no target, there are no goals, and the communication process or communication strategy is not there. So it fades out. But if you target, like I'm in a ICANN meeting and I hear somebody saying that this community stands strong for their rights, and we need to voice our issues. There is a value, there is a target, because the marginalized community is the target, and the goal is to reach out to the marginalized community. The communication platform is what you have to decide, and where you are going to put it, whether you want to record it or whether you want to use the word content, that is upon you. So this is basically the strategy of creating a conversion, uh, and you have to manage all these things. So when you are committed, when you are doing the content, and a lot of the times what happens is you kind of like share something, and then a lot of the times you are landed in an unwanted situation. That is called social media crisis. It is the wrong interpretation. So let's see the definition. A social media crisis is an unwanted situation that majorly occurs due to misinterpretation or wrong interpretation. When using social media, one has to be very clear, precise, and focused about the content and its interpretation. So you have to have a strategy regarding this. And why is that? Because when you are using the social media is an open platform. It is not a closed platform that you write and you understand. It is the platform for socializing. That is what you have to understand. Social media comes from the word socializing, right? Socializing comes from, sorry, social. So you have to understand, when you are socializing, you need to have that strategy, understanding that, the interpretation aspect. What values are you setting in, whether it's good value or whether it's a bad value. That has to be very clear. If the words are simple, clear, there is no concept of misinterpretation, and you are bang on the topic, right? So social media crisis, when it happens, in the planning stage, basically it is all about acknowledgement. If it happens, then acknowledge. The best solution is to acknowledge, then apologize, then take action, right? Do not directly take action. Do not delete the tweet, or do not delete the statement. That is very wrong, because as soon as you delete, then it creates a further reverberation of uh, of revenge, and that is what makes it very hard to manage. Because in the internet, once you delete something, it is not deleted, because internet is such a system run by backup networks, by backup servers, that things do remain, things do are downloaded, right? And when there is something wrong written or misinterpreted or something that is not usual, people do note it, right? And that also affects your credibility, your image, your brand value, and that is what you have to always consider. And response in context of not to amplify and create further better engagement. So it is more about getting yourself into the shoes and making that uh, problem go away, or taking that problem in control. It is all about getting in control, right? So that is about it. Thank you for listening in. I think we have majorly covered all the topics about social media and how to engage. If you are in the ICANN meetings, do tweet. If anybody is saying something, do tweet. If there is a relevant point that relates to you, that relates to your country, connect it and put it there. Or a lot of the times, what happens is the information that is given to you on the schedule, it has a lot of the information that the speaker is about to speak. Or you know because all these meetings, whenever all these meetings happen, what happens is it is very overwhelming. I mean to say, you are just listening, you're trying to process, and you get tired, right? So a lot of the times you kind of like get away, you miss the information, and people are continuously speaking, so it is really hard to focus. And if that happens, then you can go back to the schedule and try to see what is there, what is written in that session. Then you will have an idea. So it is always better to go back and see, and further try to understand what the topic is all about. And it is, a lot of the times even I have lost my concentration, going to all these meetings. And because it is insane that you are sitting there, you're trying to process all these information, and all these people are speaking, and everything comes down to you. I'll share you this information that after every ICANN meeting, I get so tired and I don't get time to go and travel outside. I basically feel tired and I go and sleep, because I try to process all this information. I try to put it in the social media. I try to create engagement that it completely drains my energy, right? And it is not possible for a newcomer to go out there and to process all this information. We cannot expect that from a newcomer, right? So we do expect it. That is the reason why from the first day I've been telling you, focus. Focus is very important. Once you start to focus, you kind of like get everything in control. And it is these basic tips that make difference, that you are alert, and when the opportunity is there, you click it, and then you are visible. So that's about it. Thank you all for joining in. Thank you all for staying in for 5 days and listening and contributing and collaborating. Please do go out to your communities and reach out and document it, put the content, and engage and create a better visibility. That is what I have to say. And I am signing out. Thank you all for this opportunity, for interacting, and thank you. It is an utmost pleasure to have you all here, and to have spoken all these words, and you listening and trying to understand me, and giving me all those feedbacks. Thank you. So I am officially ending this bootcamp. Thank you all.